There is not a lot Donald Trump and Kamala Harris agree on, but there is one issue: no taxes on tips. Both Trump and Harris are promising to make it happen if elected to the Oval Office.
When I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips.
And eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
This has been part of Donald Trump's economic pitch to voters since June. Harris made the same pledge at a rally earlier this month. Both made the announcements in Nevada, where we know a lot of hospitality workers are, and many of them rely on those tips. Let's bring in David Neumark. He is the Distinguished Professor of Economics at UC Irvine. Professor Neumark, thanks so much for being with us tonight. Let's get your take on the pros and cons of this no tax on tips policy. Let's start with the pros.
As an economist, it's hard to come up with any pros. The policy really doesn't make much sense. Obviously, if you're a tip worker, you might like to pay less taxes on your income, but that's true for everybody. But why tip workers? What's special about them? From a political perspective, I can see the pros. We do tend to get silly proposals during election season because people are playing for votes, as your intro noted. I believe this was actually first broached in Nevada, where there's a very high share of such workers, and it's a very contested state. So Trump came out with it. I think Harris figured, what the heck? It's going to be popular there. I might as well say it. I don't know if it'll ever happen. The cons are in some sense many. I mean, we use tax policy to either penalize things we want to not happen as much, like polluting or smoking or using gasoline. And conversely, we sometimes use tax policy or subsidies to encourage things like solar panels or electric vehicles, for example. And in the labor market, we might do the same. We might want more doctors in rural, poor rural areas. So we might subsidize them one way or the other. We could forgive their tuition. We can lower their tax bills, whatever. And we actually do the first. We do the same for public service law. I can't think of a rationale for why policymakers should encourage people to become tip workers by reducing taxes on them. It just doesn't make any sense. You might say, are they the lowest paid workers in the economy? One could clearly make an argument that we in fact do have lower taxes on the lowest paid people in the economy because those who make more can pay a higher burden. Tip workers aren't the richest by any means, but they're not the lowest paid either. Regular hourly paid workers who don't work in tipped industries like the restaurant industry, there's a lot of them who make a lot less than tip workers, because tip workers, remember, I mean, if you're working in a diner, low price, not selling any alcohol, you're not making much. But if you're a tip worker in a nice restaurant with big alcohol bills, the income's not bad.
Yeah, well, let me ask you this, because of course, to your point, if you're a server, perhaps you don't want to pay taxes on tips, and that's why servers and restaurateurs could get behind this. But nonpartisan policy group, the Tax Foundation, has estimated that this proposal would cost at least $10 billion annually and result in a $100 billion reduction in tax receipts over 10 years. What does that mean for everybody else that isn't in this industry?
Well, I mean, we have government services we've chosen to pay for. We elect representatives at the local, state, and federal level. This is presumably at the federal level. And unless we're changing those, if we raise less tax from somebody, we raise more tax from somebody else, or we cut the services. And as I said, we certainly, we do this. We give tax credits for all kinds of things we want to encourage. Creating jobs, or building a new factory, take your pick. There's a lot of, we do tax policy like that all over the place. I have not heard articulated a reason for why we want to subsidize essentially employment in this industry and in this particular part of this industry, the tipped part of the industry. Why do we want more workers at diners than at subways, which is essentially this would do, because it would encourage entry into tip work because the tax bill will be lower. It's political pandering. I mean, I don't think there's any rationale. I mean, I've tried hard to think about other rationales, and I can't come up with one.
Yeah, well, I mean, to your point, the other interesting note is some servers wrote into Fox News Digital, and one of them said, I'm actually not for this, because if you think about it, when you leave a tip at a table, that tip doesn't just go to me, the server, it goes to the back house as well. So that's even more reason why they wouldn't want to be taxed on it. So there you go. Well, we appreciate your joining us tonight with your insight, Professor of Economics at UC Irvine, David Neumark. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.